Hey there, spooky friends, and welcome to another Storytime with the Scaryish podcast.
Woo.
I'm Robin Grace. This is Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And we're here. We're here to read. We're here to read those stories that you send to us. Adam, why don't you explain what that is?
Can you imagine if this was someone's first episode and they heard me with like, hello, and they're like, oh, this guy can sound like a fucking pirate. Yeah. So the stories that you folks send to us, we call homegrown horrors because they're your stories or your friends, family, whoever, but a story that you have heard that you believe to be true. And you send them to us. You either email storytime@scaryish.com, because that's our email, or you go to our website, scaryish.com. You click on contact us, fill out that form, it comes to us. Or you hit us up on our social medias, and you send in stories that are spiritual, supernatural, haunting style, true crime, extraterrestrial, or just coincidental, where you thought it was one of those things, and it turns out it was none of those, but it's hilarious. We get all those sorts of emails, and we read them on this show. So
it's fun. It's great. It's sometimes we get some really scary ones. Sometimes they're really fun.
There's some really funny ones too. Like there's one where like this person was like at an Airbnb and the lights kept flickering and it was scaring the shit out of them. And then in the morning they told their sibling who was in another room, and the sibling was like, "Oh my God, that's happening in my room too." And then when they went home that night to the Airbnb for the second night, they like left the doors open. They realized their light switches were entangled somehow. So every time they're like flipping their light switch on and off, they're turning the lights on for the other person. And they were each other's ghosts the whole time. Like I still remember that one because it was fucking hilarious. So yeah, it's not always super serious, but sometimes it can get that way.
I think there was wasn't there one story about like a life-size Taylor Lautner standee or something?
There's definitely a life-size standee. I don't remember what celebrity it was.
Pretty sure it was like Jacob from Twilight.
Wow. Yeah, so we get some fun ones on the show. For those of you who are listening to this, you're like, I thought there was going to be a topic episode. Well, last week we skipped because things were very busy and life didn't find a way. It's been very hectic, but we wanted to make sure we got an episode out for you guys. It's the first of the month, and we want to try and do one Storytime episode per month as long as we can. So don't forget to send in your homegrown horrors, or if you have friends or family that listen to the show, encourage them to send theirs as well. Or just take their story and be like, I'm going to send it to the Scaryish podcast, and then make them listen to it when we read it so that way we can get more people. So that's what we're doing. Awesome.
Before we get into reading the homegrown horrors for this episode, we do want to give a shout out to a few patrons over on our Patreon: Shandon, Dulce, Ethan, and Carl Olav. You guys are absolutely amazing for being such huge supporters of our podcast. If you guys would also like a shout out on our episodes, you can go to patreon.com/scaryish podcast, and there's a whole bunch of different tiers you guys can sign up for. And thank you everybody else who supports us on Patreon. We really couldn't do it without you.
We really couldn't.
Genuinely could not do it without you.
You guys are amazing. Keeps the wheels turning, and we sincerely do appreciate every single one of you. But yeah, so we're going to be reading some stories. We're going to read 3 because we have 2 regular length and 1 that's really, really long. And we're going to split that one in half like we normally do. So we're going to have that be our second. Like we're going to split like first half, then commercial break, then second half.
We're breaking down the episode before we go into it.
I do this every time. And we've done this probably 50 to 60 times at least on Storytime. So everyone's like, we fucking get it, Adam. Get to the stories.
All right.
Okay, mean person. We're going to.
Right. Okay, mean person.
You're going first and third, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All
Take
right.
it away.
So this first one is from Sophia, and it begins, I've been meaning to send you guys so many stories, but I procrastinate and get busy, and I'm sorry. It's okay. Everybody gets busy.
Yeah.
I mean, I am the queen of procrastination. Like, you are the king of procrastination.
I think that's rude. I think I've been very on top of things so far in 2024. Things have just gotten on top of me. Not in a sexy way. And I'm very busy at work right now. Also, there was a line before that, and I'm pretty sure it's the subject.
It says, hi, you can share it on the pod.
Yeah, and it's in bold, and I recommend for everyone to include that at the top of your story so we know that we can share it.
All right, so it continues. Thank you for your podcast. I love it very much. Thank you for listening. I hope more people listen. Bring in all the people. Share it with everyone. Okay, so this story is about something that happened to my brother when he was a baby. I don't remember anything because I was very small, but I've heard it many times from my parents and other family members. Before I get into it, I'll give you some background. I'm from Colombia, and in Colombia, there's a lot of different lore than in the USA. This is about a Colombian creature called El Duende.
I've heard of this.
Have we covered it in an episode?
We might have touched on this or like just brought it up briefly. Or we might have had other emails about it. I'm not sure.
Maybe. which is similar to a gnome or other small mischievous creatures that resemble people in appearance. According to many stories from my country, this little creature just likes to fuck with people. They do things to confuse you, making themselves known, but not doing any concerning harm. An example of their actions is a common occurrence in farms, where the duende likes to braid the mane and tails of horses in intricate braids that are really hard to take out. Most times, people end up just cutting off the hair of the animal from how annoying it is to take the braids apart. They also like to hide and misplace stuff, and sometimes they take food they like from the kitchen.
I was on board with this little dude. It sounded pretty hilarious until the food stealing. Now I'm like weary.
I'm usually the gremlin in the kitchen just taking food in the middle of the night.
I'm like, there can't be 3 of us in one household.
They are also known to play the guitar either around your property or in rooms in your house that had a window open or some way for them to get in and out.
I love this creature so far because they give really pretty braids to your animals that are really hard to get out. So you think it's cool at first, then you're like, shit. Then you're like, where did my food go? Then in the middle of the night, you hear like, all right, here's Wonderwall. You're like, not again.
When you go to investigate the music, they run out. When my brother was a little baby, he was always very calm, except when he was put to bed alone in his room. He would be restless all night, and at first, my parents assumed that it was separation anxiety and to just let him cry it out. But then, my mom started noticing his room wasn't the same in the morning.
Did it have like a guitar riff coming from it?
Oh, God. That's like him and his group. Adam and his group of friends have this rip.
I'm going to play it. I'm downloading it. I'm doing it.
Like, that is like their favorite thing to play at each other is the, like, that line, that one riff from the song.
I'm pretty
Buddy
sure there's
Holly.
a lot of Instagram reels that do it too.
It's just, when they play D&D, I swear, every single D&D session, someone plays that song. Anyway.
Or the shout from The Who. That's like at the beginning of every
the
CSI Miami
yeah.
episode. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back to your story. I apologize.
Their mom starts noticing things aren't the same in the morning. Stuff was moved around, and he would be missing his pacifier and comfort stuffed animal. They would be across the room sometimes. She brought this up to my dad, and he told her not to worry so much and that he probably threw it. But he was obviously too small to throw something over the crib edges and across the room. My dad just didn't want to give it attention or importance, I think. But when my brother started waking up scratched up in parts,
yeah, that's bad.
Scratched up in parts he couldn't reach, he started paying attention. The mischief got worse when it was noticed more. My brother would cry, and when my parents would go and check on him, he'd have his onesie inside out and stuff like that. Bizarre, weird things like that. And the scratches were found on his back, where he obviously couldn't reach, and his pacifier was found sitting on the edge of the windowsill. My mom got a priest to come to the house and bless every room. The priest said he shouldn't bother your baby anymore, and that was it. Nothing else happened after that. We lived there for about 7 years, and then the house sadly caught on fire from Christmas lights one day.
Wow.
That is scary.
Traumatizing Christmas.
It took us about 4 years to rebuild it, and then we moved back in. My brother was about 11 or 12 years old at this point, and he never talked about El Duende since he was too small to recall anything happening to him. But one day, my mom got a text from him at 2 a.m. asking her to please come to his room because there was someone standing over him on his bed playing the guitar.
It's horrifying in so many ways.
So this they're supposed to be gnomes, so they're not the largest people to have standing over you, but I would still be absolutely terrified if something was standing over me with a guitar, even if it was a sick ass beat. Okay.
It could be really good.
He was terrified, hiding under the blankets, and all he thought to do was text my mom without moving too much. This was scary for everyone because we knew El Duende liked him for some reason, and he wouldn't just make something like that up and wake everyone up in the middle of the night. That's when my mom told us about the things that happened before the fire. I don't know if maybe the house burning down and being rebuilt got rid of the priest's blessing or protection or what happened.
Yeah, that honestly sounds... I mean, I know I'm trying to be skeptical about most things, but burning down the house that was blessed in rebuilding a new one, like, you got to get reblessed.
Yeah. But after that, he never went to sleep without making sure every window was locked. It only happened again that one time. And that's it. Hope this is of interest to you. And again, I love your podcast so very much. Thank you for creating it. I'd love to send more stories eventually. Thank you, Adam and Robin and Spooky Mom and Fluffy Companions. Thank you so much for sending that story in.
Yeah, and we look forward to hearing your stories in the future. That one was really good.
Yeah, I've never experienced something like that with...
It's horrifying.
Yeah. But can we share the story that happened to us?
Oh God, yeah, sure. Why not?
I mean,
yeah. So we'll share that. Let's just say one more time, thank you so much, Sophia, for sending that in. We appreciate you. I totally forgot about that. Yeah. So with like the stress and everything that's been happening lately, and just trying to get everything set up, just so you guys know, like my boss has gotten a really good opportunity, and he left our company to go build a new one. And I wished him well, and
now Adam's taking on all.
I have a ton of his work to do. Yeah. So I'm not, promoted or getting paid more. So I'm trying to prove myself. So there's a lot to do at work, and it's been stressful. Trying to do this like whole planning transition thing and go through all that. I also flew back home to Northwest Indiana to see my grandparents, who are very, very up there in age.
Which is why I think we missed an episode or something that week, right?
I let everyone know like I was going to be out that week, and then the next week we missed when I came back. So anyways, just so you guys know some of the stuff that's going on. The week, I think the first day maybe, that my boss was no longer with the company and I was taking on a bunch of additional work. I got up and I came and I sat down in the office, and I got in my first meeting, and the dogs were acting weird. Like the dogs, usually when I wake up, our corgi is in the bed. She jumps off the bed because she wants to go outside, and she didn't jump off the bed. She stayed in the bed. I was like, I guess if you want to stay asleep, you can. Our Shiba Inu is hit or miss, but she's been acting weird lately too. Like she's scared and like hiding in random places. So she didn't come out from under the bed, which isn't exactly abnormal. She likes to sleep in. So I was like, it'll be fine. I'm going to go do this meeting, and then afterwards I'll take the dogs outside. So I came in here, I sat down, I had my meeting, and then I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to unlock the back door, because usually that will get the dogs to at least come check. At the very least, the corgi will come running, Mm-hmm. So I start walking over there, and I'm calling them, and I hear nothing. And I'm kind of creeped out. There's like a weird vibe in the house because it's just too quiet. When I get to the back door, there's like a little bit of wind that's like billowing the back curtain that like covers our sliding doors, because it's like two glass doors that slide to each other and then lock together. And I'm like, that's weird. I don't think the AC is on, and the heat's definitely not on. And so I pull back the curtain, and the door is open. Our back door was open.
And the dog's already outside.
By 2 feet. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, where the hell are the dogs at? And they got up and went outside on their own. They're like way deep in the backyard. And I'm like, what the fuck? How long has this been open? So I call them, and, they eventually come inside. And then I freak out because I think our cat's missing. And I check, and I finally find her hiding under the bed. We watched all our security cameras, and like, for whatever reason, the last time the dogs were let outside, our cameras didn't record it. So we can't tell whether or not one of us left it open. It's probably Robin. But there's no way to be sure because the cameras didn't record it. What our cat did do, though, is wander around like 10 times and just decided not to check those curtains. Otherwise, we probably would have had our cat run away.
She is also scared of the outside. So as soon as she sees the sky, she runs back in. I'm not worried about the cat.
If she panics, though, she might not run back towards the house, So that's what I've always been concerned about with her getting out. But yeah, back door is just fucking open all night from what we can tell.
Yeah.
And it was just really creepy.
And then while you were in Indiana, my sister and I went to San Diego for a day. And we usually leave our bedroom. We have doggy gates everywhere, okay? Because our dogs are little monsters. Well, no, okay. Our little dog is a monster.
The corgi, Anya's a monster.
Our Shiba's great. She's allowed to walk around the house, all day.
She gets free reign as long, no matter how long we're gone, she can just hang out.
Yeah. And so normally we leave the bedroom gate open for her to walk around the house and do whatever. And when we left the house, I swear, I had left that gate open for her because we always leave that gate open for her. And when I came home, she was in the bedroom with the gate closed.
Yeah.
And I was very confused. I was like, why are you in here by yourself, just locked in here? It was very strange. And then after that, she started acting really weird, and she was acting like she was scared of everything. She
doesn't act like she's scared of me, but she does sometimes act like she's scared of you in a weird way.
Even though I did not do anything.
Yeah, so I was like, what did you do to my dog? But yeah, it's been a little
been weird.
Little weird thing.
So
I do think it's Robin absent-mindedness, because you've had instances in the last 5 or 6 weeks where you've walked into the bedroom and randomly turned off the fan and then also flipped the switch to the plug on the wall, and I'll be like, why'd you turn off the fan? You're like, I don't know. And then you'll turn it back on. But that's like a pretty big thing to do, like open the back door. And the other thing that was really creepy about our back door is the lock was thrown. Like the lock needs to be like pressed all the way down to like latch the two doors together. Mm-hmm. And so if you had done it, you would have like had one of the sliding doors open by about 2 feet and then locked the other one, even though they were nowhere near.
Yeah.
And then walked away. So I was like, I really searched around to see if anyone had come in the house or if anyone had pried the door open. It was creepy.
It was very strange.
We'll keep you posted. I don't think anything's happened. And I'm home all day nowadays, so it's just like, I haven't noticed anything.
And now we are like, we have deadbolts and stuff and like the locks on our doors and like the big, huge, like, I don't know. They're really loud when you close them.
Yeah. Our house can be secure, pretty secure. The other thing that's funny is that the day I woke up and found that back door open was the day directly after we finished watching all of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yeah.
That weekend we watched start to finish all of the Paranormal Activity movies that are out there.
So we were extra paranoid.
I was like, let me check these fucking cameras, but this really feels like the start of one of these goddamn movies. So, yeah, it was creepy.
Yeah.
But, all right, that's our homegrown horror. So we're going to move on to the next one. All right, getting on to the next email. This one is long, so we're going to split it in half. And its subject is Baby Monitor Whispers, a drive-by shooting, and a haunted pregnancy. Holy shit.
This is going to be the sickest email of all time.
Right? Starts out like this. Hello, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello. I am a new listener, and I just love your podcast. Thank you so much. I hope you're still listening.
Yeah, we hope you're still listening.
I know a lot of your audience found you through Spotify. I felt that I should let you know I discovered you thanks to a shout out from Jessica Braun on YouTube. Thank you, Jessica Braun.
When she shouted us out on YouTube, it was so freaking cool. She is absolutely amazing. Thank you.
I think it was just so nice of her. And the best part was we could see in our numbers, like if you're just tracking like the line graph of how many people were listening to us, like there was a literal bump.
Yep.
And we're like, what happened? And then like a couple days later, we started getting emails from folks that are like, I found you through Jessica Braun. Shout out. So it's so nice of her. Let's keep going though. It's a very long email and I'm excited to get to it. I listened to your Halloween episode and then went back and started from the beginning. I'm currently on episode 27 and I have to say, Adam, I have a 5-month-old daughter. I swear to God it wasn't me.
You're such an idiot.
If a black-eyed child shows up at my house in the middle of the night because I have an infant and I now know about them, I am coming after you. I would like to point out when I covered that episode, I was like, this one feels like it's complete nonsense to me. And everyone brings this one up as one that really creeped them out. Because that's the part about it that creeps them out. It's like, because you now know they can show up at your house someday. All right, just make sure you lock your back door so you don't have it open like we did. That story reminded me of something creepy that's happened recently and I wanted to share. Feel free to share this on the pod. Here's my story. And this one's titled Baby Monitor Whispers. I'm going to read this one, and then Robin will read the next one. To preface this, you need to know that my husband and I currently rent a ranch-style house in a rougher part of Cincinnati. We were warned by neighbors, in parentheses, who are original owners and must have been in this neighborhood since it was built, that bad things tend to happen in our house. That's fucking scary.
Oh, okay.
That's like moving in and sometimes like, you don't want to go down that road. A lot of history down that road. Which Native Americans buried their animals in that road.
So you're told bad things happen in this house, and you're like, sign me up. I'm ready.
Sometimes numbers don't lie.
Oh,
that
man.
rent's low, man. You're like, yeah, sometimes dead is better.
What the frick?
All right, I'm going to keep going, though. Before our house was bought and rented out, a family lived here. Husband, wife, and 2 daughters. One night, the wife and daughters are all in bed asleep, and they are woken up to a loud bang, breaking glass, and a blood-curdling scream. The husband had been sitting in their living room watching late-night TV. A stray bullet from a drive-by had come through the exterior wall and shot him where he sat.
Oh my God!
Like I said, this is a rough part of town.
Did he survive?
He was okay.
Okay.
That's the next sentence, so I'm glad you put that in there because I was wondering too. The bullet didn't hit anywhere serious. He was taken to the hospital and soon released. They moved not long after that. I mean, can you blame them? That would be terrifying.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Prior to our daughter being born, our guest room was a catch-all/junk area for extra furniture and knickknacks because in a 900 square foot house, there isn't much space. So the room wasn't used often.
Yeah, like I see a lot of houses in California.
Having a derelict room.
No, a lot of houses in California these days are like 900 square feet, $700,000.
Oh yeah,
it is
fucking nuts.
Insane.
It's like hard pass. Not gonna do that. And it goes on to say, i.e., no reason for what I'm about to tell you to be possible. When Felicity, in parentheses Ellie, was 2 months old, we rearranged the furniture to fit in a crib and a changing table, then started putting her down at night in her crib instead of the bassinet in our room. I should also mention the layout of our house a bit. Imagine 4 squares put together to form a large square. Okay? With the kitchen and living room on the left, and then the 2 bedrooms on the right. Our bedroom is in the back of the house, and Ellie's is directly next to ours in the front of the house. I've attached a picture to explain better. It's a Post-it note, and it did help.
It literally is a sketch. It was really nice.
Like, yeah, the layout of the house. And we were opening up the pictures before reading the email, and I was just like, this is going to be so helpful when we read this story.
Yeah.
It was described very well, though, so I'm sure you can all see it in your mind's eye as well. After a couple of weeks of sleeping in her room, I woke up one night to hear low whispers coming from our baby monitor. I got up and walked to Ellie's room to check on her. The nightlight was on, and she was sound asleep, so I went back to bed. It's an old house, and the walls are thin. I chalked it up to some hooligans being loud outside. Damn hooligans. As soon as I laid down and closed my eyes, finally in a comfortable position, I'd hear talking through the baby monitor.
That's scary.
This time the talking was louder, and I knew it wasn't coming from outside. For a split second, I was frozen in place, scared. But the need to protect my daughter was stronger than my fear. Growing a pair, I squared my shoulders and stormed into her room, ready to confront whoever had broken in. Once again, there was no one there. This time I wasn't taking any chances. I picked up Felicity and brought her to my bedroom where our German Shepherd Omen baby, in parentheses, I've linked a picture. It's
so
adorable.
Cute.
If you're an intruder, though, it would be terrifying to see that coming at you in the middle of the night. And my husband were both fast asleep. I mean, your husband's cute too, but the dog, mwah, work of art. Locking the bedroom door behind me because somehow that makes me feel safer. If they're already in the house, is a door going to keep them out? Whatever. I put Ellie in her bassinet, turned the baby monitor off, and tried to get some rest. I can't believe you didn't wake up your husband.
Yeah, that's brave.
Shake him and be like, hey, take the dog and go check the house. That's exactly what Robin would do to me.
100%.
Yeah.
Like when we had our German Shepherd Corgi, if something weird happened in the house, like we heard something, I'd be like, take Yui.
I would always take her because she would investigate everything. And if she wasn't suspicious, then I was like, I think we're okay. Because she was definitely a very suspicious dog.
Yeah.
With, like everything. So anyways, let's keep going. I've heard stories about crazy babysitters or someone that would be obsessed with a child, so when they're in the home, they unlock a window to sneak back in at a later time to take the child. Because I was still on maternity leave at the time, she hadn't had any babysitters, and no one had been in our house to visit since we had come home from the hospital. Still, sleep eluded me that night with the thought of someone breaking in through her bedroom window. The next night, as we were getting Ellie down to sleep, I decided that I would check all the windows in the house just to calm my nerves. I had tried to convince myself that the previous night was just a bad dream, but I was still on edge. I'm sure at this point someone would say, why don't you check your windows every night? And that, my dear listener, is because there are only 7 windows in our entire house. Of those 7, only 2 are ever opened or used. Therefore, if we don't use them, why would we check them every night to make sure they're locked and closed?
Sound logic.
Yeah, it is. It's not safe. And I'm realizing that because I'm realizing how many windows I don't check in this house that I'm totally going to check before bed tonight. Anyways, we're putting Ellie to sleep, and I decided I'll sleep better that night if I reassured myself that all doors and windows are locked. I make my way through the house, and unsurprisingly, all the windows are locked, except for one. The window right next to Felicity's crib.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah, that gave me cold chills. We've had other unexplainable things happen in our house. Nothing malicious, but definitely scary-ish. She said it. She said the thing. The idea of someone in my baby's room in the middle of the night, living or paranormal, still makes my hair stand on end. I'd like to believe the whispering I heard was just someone trying to get my attention and protect my daughter before anything bad happened. I have one more story to tell that backs up the idea of a kind spirit looking out for my family. And we'll stop right there, take our commercial break, and when we come back, Robin will read that other story.
Nice. Yeah. You know, do you ever, are some of these stories ever just like scary to you? Like,
yeah. Home invasion shit. I don't even watch movies about home invasion stuff.
Hush, Hush, highly recommend.
Don't know what Hush is.
It is so good.
But that stuff unnerves me. Having someone in your home when they're not supposed to be in your space freaks me the fuck out.
Hush has Theo from Haunting at Hill House. She is the main character.
Okay.
She is deaf.
Okay.
And it's pretty much like home invasion. But like She's a badass.
Okay.
It's so good.
I'm curious, but I'm still not going to watch it. Thank you for the
It's so
description,
good.
because it's creepy. It's not my jam. But we're going to get to the next story right after this commercial break.
Welcome back to the second half of this episode and the second half of this lovely email here that we have. The next story's title is A Haunted Pregnancy and a Couch.
That's scary.
My husband and I moved into our house in June, right after we got married. We got pregnant August of the same year. Ooh,
Nice.
lucky. I know that every haunting is different and sometimes weird things don't start happening immediately. That was the case for us. I don't put a lot of stock into mediums or psychics, but I am a Christian, and I think if you believe in God and demons and angels, the idea that ghosts are real isn't that far off. Also, Adam, aliens definitely exist. As big as our solar system is, knowing there are so many other systems out there, the idea that we're the only one that has life that's out there is way too damn cocky.
I agree.
But, back to my story. There's been a lot of death in my husband's family. His paternal grandfather committed suicide, his maternal grandpa died suddenly of a heart attack, and his father died in the 30s after a 2-decade-long battle with cancer when my husband, also named Adam, was 10 years old.
Oh shit, he just got way more handsome.
Needless to say, the men in his family don't have long lives. That's scary.
That is scary.
All of these deaths occurred well before Adam and I got together, so I've met none of these men. I only know what his father looks like from pictures hung around my mother-in-law's house. I had no idea what Adam's grandfathers looked like or even know their names besides the nicknames he called them. I had a very rough pregnancy. I had lost 3 prior to having our healthy baby girl. Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah.
At 28 weeks, I went into preterm labor.
Wow, that's so early.
That's super early for sure.
Yeah.
They stopped the contractions and put me on bed rest. I was no longer able to work. I think all the extra time I spent trapped at home caused me to be super sensitive to the feel or energy of our house, something I hadn't noticed before. Again, I don't put much stock into being sensitive to that sort of thing. I got to a point that while Adam was at work and I was stuck at home, I wouldn't leave our bedroom. I just had a feeling that there was someone in our living room. Even writing this now, I have cold chills. I get the feeling that eyes are on me. When he was home, I was comfortable to move about the house, but only if I wasn't alone. If we watched a movie in the living room with the lights off, I was okay. If we'd already turned everything off, locked the doors, and gone to bed, I wouldn't go back down the hall. I couldn't even go get a drink of water after we'd gone to bed. I'd send Adam. Robin, I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from.
She sends me for everything, and she's not scared.
I know this sounds super extreme and a little crazy.
It does not.
But I was convinced there was someone in our living room, and if I went out there, I would see him. While being home alone one afternoon, I had a brownie pan fall off of our kitchen table. I picked it up, but put it on the counter and left the room. It fell again. I didn't want to be alone anymore, so I called my mom to come pick me up and take me to lunch. Being super pregnant and on bed rest, I was extremely limited in what I could do. During lunch, I described to her what I'd experienced and how I felt that I wasn't alone in our home. My mom has had her own scary paranormal experiences and believed every word I said. I'll send her stories another time, as this email is already super long, but we love it though.
Yeah.
My mom encouraged me to give this man a name. She said, if you name it, it's not so scary. So I did. I randomly chose Gary. He just feels like a Gary. That same day, I went to dinner with my mother-in-law and my husband. Again, being super pregnant, the smell of food cooking made me sick, so we ate out a lot. But anyways, in the car, I'm describing how I've never seen Gary, but how in my mind's eye, I picture him with big circle glasses and silver hair combed over. I said if I ever got up the courage to look at him, he'd probably be sitting in our love seat with his feet propped up as if he's watching TV. My mother-in-law began to laugh and told me I'd just described her father. After we got done eating, we drove her back home. She went inside and after a few minutes came out holding a picture frame. Smiling next to her was the man I'd imagined in my living room for months. His name was Gary.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
The only couch in our house was our love seat that reclines. Knowing we were going to have a baby soon and anticipating more visitors than normal, we invested in a large sectional and sent the love seat to my mother-in-law's house. I'm assuming Gary went with it because after the switch, I haven't had a problem going to get water at night. I'd love to believe that Gary, or my husband's dad, was looking out for our little girl and warned me that her bedroom window was unlocked as a way to protect our family. Either way, these situations have made me rethink the idea of someone being sensitive to the paranormal. You guys are the best. I'm sorry this was so long. Don't be sorry. Please do more. Just so you know, none of your listeners would complain about episodes going long. I know you've stressed about staying under a certain time. Nah,
not anymore.
Not anymore. Keep on creeping on.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sending those stories in.
They were really good.
They're really freaking good. And I'm glad it was good vibes, for the most part there. I'm sure it was really scary hearing whispering and stuff like that, but it sorted itself out.
Yeah, I like your interpretation too, that it's just sort of a guardian angel kind of whispering like, hey dude, lock the window is unlocked. Come in here and unlock that window. So I think that's way better than, getting too worked up or freaking yourself out. Also, the fact that you really pictured this person in your mind's eye and then saw them in the picture frame and realized they would be someone who would look out after you. That's a really nice story.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sending that. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for the pictures of your doggos and your adorable husband and baby.
Too cute.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you one more time. All right. And we're going to move on to the last story of the show. And this one came to us on Instagram, actually. And it came from Brandon.
You guys can always reach out to us on any of our social medias. We have a Facebook. We have an X. We have...
No, we don't. We have a Twitter. God damn it. At Scaryish Pod.
We have...
Facebook.
We have... I said Facebook.
Oh,
we have
Twitter.
Instagram. We have personal accounts on other things. Like I have a TikTok. I don't know if you have a TikTok. Maybe
I have a TikTok. I don't post anything. I don't know if the show has a TikTok or not.
I think the show has a TikTok, but we haven't posted
I think I squatted it. Eventually we'll make it, but you can message us on there too if you want. Just, feel free to reach out to us. The easiest way for you to send us your stories, or just reach out to us if you want to contact us and say, hey, you're the best show ever. I want to give you $1 billion and have you guys make a TV show. We'd love to hear that too. Or other stuff.
Yeah.
But the story is from Brandon. And it came from Instagram.
Hello, Brandon, from Instagram.
Starts out like this. I have a meaning to email you guys my stupid story, and life has just been non-stop. Like that one Liam Neeson movie, but less cool because there's no Liam Neeson. Feel free to use this on the pod if you want. It's just a dumb story about a prank my friends and I did when we were kids that was not a prank and could have been very dangerous.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this right now. It's also the best way to make a less serious story to end the episode. Almost 2 decades ago, and then parenthesis says, Lord have mercy, time flies.
20 years?
It's 20 years. 2 decades is 20 years. Good job, Robin.
Yeah, I know, bro.
Almost 20 years ago.
I'm just thinking about the fact that I'm
old?
On my way to 40.
Yeah, she's on her way to 40. I'm knocking on the doorstep of 40. Anyways, almost 2 decades ago, me and 2 friends were up to no good, doing a thing we liked to call ninja-ing. Naruto was very popular during this time. We'd sneak around trying to avoid people who weren't even looking for us, and we thought we were just the coolest, 10-year-olds.
You know what? When I was in high school, though, okay?
You were running around with your arms behind you?
You know how they do the different spells with their hands?
Yeah.
Like the
jutsus?
Yeah, the different jutsus with their hands. Yeah, I was like, we got to learn how to do all those things. We got to learn how to do it for these make-believe.
I would love to make fun of you for this, except up to my senior year in high school, I was still doing the fusion dance with my friend Nick. Like, we knew it. We had it down. We would definitely have become addict if we fused properly. Anyways.
Wait, you and Nick.
You've met Nick.
Damn.
Yeah.
I was like, how would you be addict?
Adam and Nick.
I get that now.
Or Nadam, obviously. Okay, we're going to keep going with your story. Anyways, we got bored with just avoiding attention, so we decided it would be the coolest to throw wood in the streets. Planks, small logs, 2x4s with fucking nails in them.
Oh my God.
Basically, any wood waste we could find in this spot where I'm pretty sure homeless people lived in. Childhood. It's like, to be an idiot again. We would throw the wood into the street when there weren't any cars and then run to the bushes or other covers to watch cars hit them.
What a bunch of assholes.
That's a dick move. Like, I'm just thinking about how expensive tires are.
Kids, people, Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, not cool.
You're right.
Not
He
cool.
definitely prefaced this with, it's definitely not a prank.
Yeah.
And could have been very dangerous. So he understands this now. All right. After some time, cars started to stop and go around them slowly until one guy pulled over and started yelling, "Who the fuck put this here? You brats!" Looking back, I wonder if this happened to him before. Oh well. So my friends and I started freaking out because the dude and a couple other guys got out of their cars and started looking for us and yelling more.
It could have gone south real quick.
By this time, the three of us had sort of split up to avoid the search party, but the beautiful part is our escape methods. Our buddy Anthony took off down a dirt road, being slowly pursued by a car. He ended up running into a barbed wire fence, but got away. I have a story after this.
Oh, God.
The other friend, Wells, hid under a bridge that had some boxes and stuff to hide behind. Where did I hide, you ask? Well, I found the best hiding spot. I laid down in the middle of the small field next to the road, and when I say it fucking worked, I hope you believe me. I 100% believe you, because if this is nighttime, no one would notice. And if the field is slightly elevated above the road, there's absolutely no way they would see you. And if there's still leftover corn stalks from being harvested, you're basically invisible at that point. All right. Gonna keep going down. Anthony came out of this cut up from the barbed wire fence. Wells had slipped and got poked by debris and stuff under the bridge because he dove behind a table, and I was totally unharmed. I know this was horribly written, but I hope there was something to enjoy. Not the best story. My takeaway from this, at the time, was to choose better friends.
That's messed up.
Never did anything like that again. My father would have beat... I'll probably skip that sentence.
You could just say, my father would have beat me.
My father would have beat me. Adam knows. Our dads share a birth year. LMAO. Yep. At least I think I've heard him say that. My dad was also born in 1955. That's the year your dad was born. Anyways, just rambling at this point. Love you guys. Love the show. Now, back to you, fuckers. Bruce Almighty, please don't be mad. No, we totally got that reference.
Yeah, you got that reference.
Kids do stupid stuff, for sure. And the scary, times freak you out and keep you from doing it again. There was one time... we used to TP a lot of stuff when we were in high school.
I cannot believe half the things that you did when you were young.
TP is not. It's not like I'm saying we used to sell fucking drugs. We would just take toilet paper rolls and throw them into our friends' trees
and smash people's mailboxes.
I did that one time. I did that for one night
and steal all of the lawn ornaments from people's yards.
I did that 10 times in one summer or winter, whatever, and I got over it. I need to check statute of limitations on that.
You tried
Anyways.
to steal someone's, the Statue of Mary.
I didn't try. I successfully stole their Statue of Mary.
Oh my God.
And it was covered in spiders. I got to the car and I realized my skin was crawling and I realized it was the punishment from God for stealing a statue of the Virgin Mary. She was fucking okay. So now I have to tell two stories. So I was on this kick where I was stealing stuff. Okay, I'm not proud of it. I feel bad. I put some stuff back, which must have been hilarious for folks. 2 years later, the thing that was stolen just reappeared. Anyways, I decided, hey, I'm gonna steal a statue of the Virgin Mary. Rebellious, woo! And there was one that was about 2.5, maybe 3 feet tall. And I ran up to it. My friends were driving, and I was in the backseat. I was like, hey, pull over. I'm gonna snatch that thing. They pulled over. I ran up to it. I put my hand under her chin, and I intended to lift it and run. And when I lifted it, I started to run, and I got dragged down by how heavy it was. Just wham, right on my back. So I stood up, and I picked it up, with both arms, and I ran while I was carrying it. I got in the car. They're like, are you serious? I'm like, go, go, go. And they drove. And because that thing had obviously been in that same spot for a very long time, there was just a bunch of spiders living underneath it. So they started crawling all over my arms. So I had to jump out of the car, dust myself off. And I'm pretty sure I put that back 2 years later. I just walked up to the house. Even if they weren't the same people living there, they randomly got the Virgin Mary returned to them. Anyways, the other thing I was going to say is we had this night where we were all staying at my friend's house. And some kids we didn't know, some really young kids, 10, maybe 11, started TPing his house. And we're like, what the fuck? So we got in his car and they ran and they had bikes. They just jumped on their bikes, started fleeing, and they all split up.
Did you run them over?
We chased them, and this one kid decided he was going to hop off the road and try and hop into a field, but there was a 4-foot ditch.
Oh gosh.
So he went just fucking ass over tea kettle, just flipped right off his bike, just laying in this ditch. We're all like, is he dead? And he slowly stood up, and he had thorn bushes sticking into him. He's picking them out, and we rolled down the window. And I was like, we just want to chase you down to tell you we're proud of you. Keep the tradition alive, but don't TP our fucking house. And then we just drove off.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so hopefully that was enough to make them realize, like, only TP your friends' houses, because then you don't really get in trouble. They just TP you back. So that was a fun one to end on. Good job. Thank you for sending them, Brandon.
Thank you so much.
If you have any stories you'd like to send our way, we would definitely like to hear them. This is the end of Storytime number 205, but not the end of Storytimes, obviously. So yeah, send us your homegrown horrors. They don't have to be super horrific. They can be touching like some of the stuff was earlier. They can be scary, give you cold chills, that sort of vibe. Whatever the case may be, supernatural, paranormal, extraterrestrial.
True crime. Some of my favorites are always true crime.
Yeah, coincidental ones are fun too. Never hurts to send a prank story. I fucking love those. But yeah, if you want to send those, please email storytime@scaryish.com or go to our website, scaryish.com, and click on Contact Us. You can fill out that form. It'll come directly to us or hit us up on our socials. Facebook is facebook.com/scariyishpodcast. Twitter is @scariyishpod, and Instagram is @scariyishpodcast. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
You can go to patreon.com/scariyishpodcast. Those are monthly donations with tiers starting at $1. You can also go to coffee, ko-fi.com/scariyishpodcast.
Indeed. Those are the ways that you can help support us. We would definitely appreciate it. If you can't donate, we totally understand. Share the episodes with a friend and see if they like it. That really helps us out a ton, and we would appreciate it immensely. So thank you so much to everyone who supports us in all the ways and everyone who listens. You're all amazing. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And that's everything we have for this episode. So, Robin, go ahead and send us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.